Hello, parents, and welcome to the 2020 football parent meeting. Want to thank everybody for taking a moment to look over the information that we're going to give to you today. Obviously, there's a lot of different things with the type of season that we're having, the type of year that we're having. So we'll go through these slides, and if you have any questions, my information will be here at the end, and you're certainly welcome to shoot me an email. First of all, I want to thank everybody for putting your trust in our staff to work with your young men. Any year, we thank you for that, but this year especially with all the questions that are out there regarding COVID-19. But thank you for allowing them to lift with us in the summer, to come to camps with us in the summer, to come to football practice, obviously, as we get going. And there's going to be some different challenges that come up as we move forward, but we'll get through it. And we're committed to making this as safe and as fun and enjoyable for you and your kid as we can. So if we work together, we can make this a successful year. So thank you for being a part of it. As we get going, I'll just go through some of the stuff, and I'm not going to read everything word for word. But hopefully this can be a reference for you and you can look back to it. And I will post the PowerPoint separate from the voiceover also, so you can just use this as a reference as you move forward. You're going to hear your young men possibly talk about some team standards that we put out there. These are hanging in the locker room. These are things that we talk about as staples of our program. And just to go over a couple of them with you, these are things coming from a book called Leadership Rules. And number one is that you get what you expect. If you expect success, you're going to find success. If you expect to fail or have a miserable time with something, then it's not going to be very enjoyable. Number two is you get what you prepare for. And we talk about this all the time in practice, that we don't prepare to play a game on Friday nights. We go out to prepare to win a game on Friday nights. So it just depends on how you prepare. You get what you model. We tell our kids that they need to model things appropriately in the school. We tell our coaching staff that we need to model things appropriately for our kids. And this is one that the parents could get behind also. We need to model for our kids, both in this football team and in our families, the proper way to do things. So it's a good thing to live by. And you get what you reward. This is what, we're going to give some different awards out for practice, for games, for good effort, those types of things. Lettering criteria. Our athletes have to play and appear in one play in 12 different varsity quarters. Now, athletes can earn quarters by what they've done in the summer. For every 10 football activities that they come to in the summer, that includes weight room, they will earn 1 quarter towards lettering. This helps a few of our kids every year that are on a special teams that maybe got hurt early, but this helps some of them earn that letter because they actually start the year with 3 quarters towards lettering. So there's our lettering criteria. Student-athlete expectations. I'm not going to go through every one of these with you guys, but this information is here. I can tell you that we have discussed this with your kids in a meeting. So the expectations obviously are a little higher for an athlete. I will mention something on each one of these slides. On this one, if you look at the last one, any athlete in violation of the student drug policy, we will support the school's drug and alcohol policy, the vaping policy. That is out of our hands. That has nothing to do with us. And so we will fully support whatever the school decides in those situations. Academic performances, we do expect our kids to perform in the classroom. So if we have a kid that has an F, 1 failing grade, or that has more than 1 D at any time, they are expected to attend a required study hall during the season at 7 a.m. They will be in study hall from 7 to 7:45 a.m. Every day of the week. So actually it's Monday through Thursday. But as soon as they get their grades up and they can show a coach that their grades are no longer in that D and F range, then they will be excused from that study hall. So if you, hopefully none of your none of your athletes are in that situation, but if they are, you'll understand why and what our expectation is. Expectation for practice is very simple. You show up to practice every day. Everyone's required. So if you miss a practice, you're going to sit out of a football game coming up, and so moving forward to game expectations, same thing with the game. If you are injured or if you are a sub and don't expect to play, we still expect you to dress on Friday night at home games. Now, away games are a little different. We're limited on who we can fit on the bus, but home games, the expectation is that you are there and you are supporting your teammates. If we have the varsity 2 deep guys are going to be assigned to a couple mornings a week for film review. We will treat those like any team meeting or any practice. If we have a meeting scheduled or a film session scheduled, the 2 deep is expected to attend. Injury expectations, and this one is very important because this one gets lost sometimes. If our young man or your athlete is hurt, the expectation is that they are at practice. Unless told to do something different by our trainers or a doctor, they have to be at practice. They have to be supporting their teammates. They have to be there the entire time. Same thing with games. Our expectation is that they are at football games, standing on the sideline, cheering on their teammates. Now, we are probably not going to take an injured young man on the road with us. We're going to put somebody in that seat that can actually be on the field. But the other expectation is that if they are assigned some type of rehab by the trainers, that they attend that rehab. If they miss that rehab, it's going to be like missing a practice. So it is very important that we do everything we can to get the athletes back on the field if they happen to get injured. This is something we started doing a couple years ago. So here's the parent expectations. Number 1 on parent expectations, that you support your athlete on the team and the team. We understand as coaches that your athlete is the most important to you, and it should be. But we are also trying to build a team, and we're trying to teach that this is a team game. So we expect everybody to support the team at all times. So while you and your athlete are the most important thing to you, we have to do what's best for the team, and we expect you to support those decisions and be positive with the team at all times. Please remember that you are representing your community school team and your athlete, and do it in a positive way. I know it gets frustrating sometimes in the stands. You might be frustrated at the coaches, the player, or the officials. But please remember that by yelling out to the field, first of all, most of the time we can't hear you anyway, and the officials certainly aren't going to hear you. But you are representing your athlete, and you're representing the school, and you're representing the community. So, and remember our team rule number 3: you get what you model. So let's model the appropriate behavior in that aspect. Please follow a chain of command. This is a parent expectation that we have as a coaching staff. If you have a concern that needs to be addressed, contact myself or the position coach, and let's have a discussion first. Please don't call the athletic director, principal, or superintendent, because they're not going to know what happened in that situation. They're going to have to hang up. They're going to have to call us, and then chances are we're going to have to call you. So let's just get things rolling. If there's a concern that needs to be discussed, we'll give you all of our contact information. Please contact one of the coaches first. Please allow the coaching staff to coach. Normally, and we didn't change this with the COVID things coming up, as of right now, in normal years, parents would be welcome at any practice. You can come sit in the bleachers. However, as of right now, due to the fact that we would have to have protocols in place for letting parents into the fence area and into the bleachers at practice, and then we'd have to clean all those areas afterwards, we're not going to allow parents inside the gates. I mean, you're welcome to sit out in your vehicles, but as far as coming in and sit in the bleachers, at this time, we are not going to allow that. But on game day, again, once your athlete, getting back to allowing your athlete to be coached by the coaching staff, on game day, once your athlete arrives at the high school for a game, they're going to be off limits unless it's an emergency. We're not going to let them use their phone in the locker room. They won't be able to use their phone in the bus. Unless, if you need to get a hold of your athlete, we ask that you send them a text. They will bring that phone to a coach and ask and let us know, hey, coach, my mom just texted. May I text her back or call her back? We will say yes, but we just want to know that it's not a friend, a girlfriend, or they're doing something on social media with that phone. So please allow the athletes to coach. We're here for the best interest of your kids. We want to put the best group of kids on the field on varsity nights. JV games, we want to get reps for a bunch of kids. So we're here to help your young man grow in a lot of areas. So please allow us to do that. This is a point system we'll use. We've used this for many years, and I'll let you look over it. Basically, it assigns points to different things that may come up with an athlete. Again, any drug, alcohol, anything like that happens within the school, we support the school policy. What this is going to cover are things like tardy to practice, excused absences, unexcused absences. There's a place in here that has public confrontation with the coach, which we don't have to deal with very often. The thing that I want you to understand is if you have an unexcused absence from practice, then that is an automatic 4 points. And on the next slide, I'll show you what that means. But you can kind of look through here and see how things are going to be assessed. Now, with all these points that I'm showing you here, the number one thing is communication with coaches. If you are in communication with us, we're going to work with you as much as possible. This point system is for the group of kids that we have no communication. We don't know where they're at, for the first 10 minutes of practice or for an entire practice. It may be a good reason, but nobody communicated that information with the coaching staff. So if you are in constant communication with the coaches, we'll work with you and we'll work something out. If your young man does receive points, and what happens is at 4 points, a suspension is going to occur. The athlete's not going to play in the next game. We're going to ask them to talk to our Unity Council and just tell our Unity Council why you accumulated those points. Maybe you overslept. Maybe it's a series of things that you've missed 4 straight study halls. So, I think it's important that the athlete owns up to it. The Unity Council will not say a word to the player. They're instructed that they're just there to listen. And then they actually can make a recommendation. If they feel that we were too harsh on them, then they can actually make a recommendation to the coaching staff to reduce some of those points and allow them to play. But that's the process we've had. It's worked very well. Every year, we might have one young man, 2 young men that we run into this issue with points. But for the most part, we've been very lucky the last few years, and we haven't had to enforce these rules. Again, at the bottom, any drug, alcohol, criminal violation will be it'll be up to the school what the punishment is, and we will support that 100%. Here's our coach's contact information. Again, this will be something that you can refer back to. But if you have any questions with anything or you need to contact a coach, there's the information. And at the very bottom there are the trainer's information. If you have a question about an injury or a rehab treatment, please contact one of the trainers. They're always willing to help you. And that's their numbers there at the bottom of the screen. Here's the cumulative schedule for the varsity JV and freshmen. I know that just recently we announced that we have picked up Scotts Bluff to replace Omaha Central to start the year. On 10-9, we still don't have a game for sure. We have an agreement in place that if we chose to fill in a game there, we do have a team that we've been talking to, but at this time we're not going to do that. We're going to see how the season goes. Perhaps we'll have a makeup game in district that we need to get made up, or maybe we just need a week off when we get to that point. But as of right now, this is the schedule we're going to roll with. So, again, with everything that's going on, some of this may change. So please be ready for changes if those things do occur. The preseason schedule, and I know we're a couple days into it here, but this should have everything on it. some of the changes, some things that are different on August 14th, we will have a team activity where our athletes are going to go help Habitat for Humanity roll out some sod for a couple of houses. They've asked us to do this, and they had to cancel on us a couple of weeks ago. So after practice on August 14th, we're going to drive there, and we're going to take care of that for that organization. On August 15th is our Saturday morning scrimmage. It says parents invited on the schedule. Again, at this point, we're not going to allow parents into the stadium to watch that scrimmage. When we get to the Gatorade scrimmage, we will have something in place so that parents can come in and watch that scrimmage on August 20th. But the morning of August 15th, we're just going to go ahead and have a normal practice with some scrimmage included into it. Parents, again, if you want to try to watch from your vehicle, that's fine, but we can't let you inside the fence and into the bleachers at this time. I hope you understand that, and if you have any questions, please give us a call. There's a few things that we're going to change for this year just because of, again, protocols that would have to be set in place, and here's a few of those things. We're not going to have the Burger Bash this year. We're not going to have the motorcycle escort. Team meals the day before a game that are hosted by parents. These are things that I hate to do, but we're not going to do it this year. We're not going to get in a situation that we have to do develop all these extra protocols and get approval from board and things like that to get in here. So we're going to really focus on playing football this year, and I know we don't get to do some of these things that we like to do, but for 1 year, we're just going to hold off on it. During the season, Rockin' Readers, we aren't going to do an in-person Rockin' Readers. I'm working on possibly doing a Zoom setup where they still get to Zoom with the class. The older kids would. This is one that I know we all want to continue, but we just can't. And this comes down from the NSAA. Parent, player, coach, friends gathering after the game on the field or even outside of our stadium. Folks, we need to move to our vehicles and we need to go home after the game. Those large gatherings that we have there, they can't happen. We preach to our kids to do the right things, wear a mask, do all these things. And one of those things is after the game, we need to load up on the bus and we need to get the kids out of there and we need to get them home as quickly as possible. At this point, I don't know how many people are going to be sitting in the stands, how many students are going to be allowed into the game, but we cannot have gatherings. We just got to get moving after the game to try to keep everybody safe. And, if something changes down the road, then we'll change this. But as of right now, that's where we're going to be. And again, I've already mentioned the open practices to parents and Saturday, the one Saturday morning scrimmage, those are going to be closed to parents this year. It's just going to be football personnel, and we'll do something with the Gatorade scrimmage and get some parents in there so you can watch. But the other days, the practices and scrimmages are going to be closed. As we are making changes, we're going to continue to send things out through Remind. If you do not have Remind, here's the opportunity. Here's how you can get hooked up to those Remind texts. Just follow the instructions right there and enter that number and text that message, and you will then be into our Remind group, and you will receive texts and updates from the coaching staff. I didn't include any of the specific COVID procedures that we're using in our locker rooms and at practice and during games. We do have those in place. We are having a meeting as a coaching staff to review those later today. And Mr. Kwapnoski, our athletic director, is going to be sending those procedures and protocols out to parents. He wanted to be the one that sent that out because a lot of that information is coming from the state. It's coming from the athletic association. It's coming from the school district. So he wanted to send all that information out together. So keep an eye out for more information coming out on the protocols. And if you wanted to see what we're doing, I can tell you this. We have an extensive cleaning process and screening process and changing process to get our kids in and out of the locker room in a safe and orderly fashion this year. There's also going to be some changes, I'm sure, to practices and games. If we can make it through, that would be fantastic, but I'm sure there's going to be some changes. So we will continue to send information out regarding those things. if you have any questions, you are welcome to contact me. There is my email address. My phone number was listed before. Contact any of our coaches if you have a question. And again, I want to thank you because we truly feel honored to be able to work with your young men every day. And we have over 125 kids on the practice field right now, which is 30 kids more than we had last year. So the trust that you have put on us, we don't take that lightly. And this staff is going to work their tails off to help your young men and give them a great experience. And along the way, hopefully win some football games. But we got a great group of kids, a good group of parents, and let's continue to work together to make this a great year.